Natalie Sideserf here of Sideserf Cake Studio, and I'm going to show you how I made a cake of a pair of jeans. But first, I want to talk to you about this video's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. Raid is a super addictive fantasy RPG that is visually stunning, and it's free to play. I've been playing Raid for a while now, and yes, I do actually play. The champions I like most are Turvold and Brachus the Shifter. Both of them are really strong, and they deal a lot of damage. And when I'm in battle, I'm all about the attack. Raid has a jam-packed schedule of events this month, and tons of new content. There's a new rotation to the Doom Tower, which I'm definitely trying to finish this month. And as always, a bunch of new champions to summon. I think you should download Raid. And if you want to get a huge head start, I have a link in the description, or scan my QR code, and you'll get 200,000 silver, 1 XP boost, an energy refill, an ancient shard for summoning an amazing champion as soon as you start, and also the epic hero Conneru. You can find your rewards here in your inbox. Once you're in, look for Sideserf Cakes and battle me head to head. It's that easy. Just click the link in the description and I'll see you in the game. So as I was planning this week's cake, I saw someone recommend I make a pair of jeans in the comments, which I think is a really fun idea. So here we go. Here I've stacked, carved, and iced this cake into the shape of a folded up pair of jeans. So basically a rectangle with rounded edges. Here I'm covering the cake in a layer of light bluish gray modeling chocolate, and this layer of chocolate is what I'm going to use to sculpt all the details. If you're familiar with my cake videos, then you know that I make a ton of realistic cakes of everyday objects and foods, and I like to refer to these cakes as still life cakes. So a still life is a work of art that depicts inanimate subject matter. If you've taken a beginning art class, then you were likely asked to draw or paint a still life. You know, when your teacher gathers a bunch of junk in the center of a room and then you paint or draw that junk? I genuinely love making still life paintings, drawings, and cakes. Still life cakes are probably my favorite cake to make. So while I'm sculpting this cake, what you all can't see is that I actually have a pair of jeans that are folded up off to the side, and I'm using that as a reference. So just like the historically traditional way that people create still life paintings, I have the actual object in front of me so that I can replicate all the different shapes and the colors and all the textures. If you thought that I was sculpting this from memory, you are incorrect, my friends. I'm the kind of artist who is good at replicating things, but if you ask me to create art from memory, you're going to be shocked by the results. It's no good. Oh look, there's those jeans I was talking about in the background. You can see that rather than adding layers of modeling chocolate in sections to represent the different pieces of denim, I like to sculpt the existing chocolate to look like separate pieces. Here's the pocket, for example. I could have added a separate piece of chocolate in the shape of a pocket, but instead I carved into the chocolate that's already on the cake. I prefer this because it keeps the cake from getting too bulky. It allows me to create the illusion of a separate piece of fabric that is the perfect thickness and shape. That doesn't mean that everybody should do it that way. That's just the way that I prefer. So now that the cake is sculpted, let's add a little texture. I've decided to try to make a mold of the denim texture. So I pressed some food-safe molding putty onto a pair of jeans, and then after about 20 minutes, I just peel it off. And as I thought, the texture is really, really subtle. And now that's not ideal, but I can work with it. Because I spent a few hours sculpting the cake, the chocolate has gone back to room temperature, so it's pretty firm. So I'm taking a lighter and I'm warming up the chocolate slightly so that it picks up the texture better. Like I said earlier, the texture is extremely subtle, but I still think that it's a nice detail. Now I'm adding marks and lines for the seams. I'll add edible gold thread to these lines later after the denim is painted. Adding these lines is really challenging, but that means it's really fun. I have to try my hardest to keep my hands steady, but I also have to make sure that the distance between the lines stays consistent. And I'm just eyeballing it. And now it's time to paint. So I'm going for a super dark blue denim here, almost black. I really like to challenge myself to try to make my still life cakes as realistic as I possibly can, which is great practice. And you know what? Not only are they great practice, but people really enjoy them. And I know that that is the most important thing. That's right, you're the #1 thing that I think of when I make my cakes. All I want to do is make cakes that you like. Speaking of like, if you like this video, please like this video. It helps me reach more people, and it also lets me know that you like what I'm doing, which gives me the drive to keep doing it. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, subscribe now, because I post a new cake video every week, and you will never guess what I'm gonna make next, because I don't even know. These jeans are really fun to paint. My favorite part is adding the highlights to the edges, especially those rippled areas on the pockets and where the different pieces of denim are sewn together. This is one of those surprises where I didn't really recognize how fun it was going to be until I just dove in and started painting. And last but not least, I'm adding some super thin coils of modeling chocolate that represent the thread. I secure the coil, and then I take a pointed bamboo skewer and I just poke holes to make it look like stitching. This makes me so happy. I wasn't 100% sold on whether I was going to add the thread or not, but I am so happy I did. Totally worth the hours of time that it took to add the stitching. And no, I'm not being facetious. It's very time consuming and worth every minute. And there you have it, a cake of a pair of jeans. This cake turned out better than I thought it would. I am very pleased. Now let's destroy it by cutting a slice. And I just wanted to say thank you so much to Rozie and Bespoke Cakery. They are my 2 newest shout-out supporters, and I am so happy that you joined. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you next week for another cake.